Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. It's understood Sinn Féin, Labour, Greens and Independents will form a group which will control Waterford City and County Council for the next 5 years. 4 historic homes in West Waterford have been transformed into long-awaited social housing, and there was another slight fall in the live register in Waterford during the month of May. In sport, plans to increase Walsh Park's capacity to 16,000 remains on course. It's understood Sinn Féin, Labour, Greens and Independents will form a group which will control Waterford City and County Council for the next 5 years. They had favoured a system where positions were divided evenly with all elected councillors. However, it appears attempts to negotiate a deal with Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil failed. The council holds its AGM at City Hall this afternoon, where the Mayor and Deputy Mayor will be elected. Fine Gael's Damien Geoghegan says they had communications from different groups, but there was no focus on budgets going forward. He says it was being sold to the public as a DeHunt system when it really wasn't.
As I say, it's a pact that's being put in place, and they really wanted to remove any sort of opposition within the council chamber, any sort of critical thinking. And I think now more than ever, Waterford City and County really needs a strong council and a council that's decisive. There's a lot of issues on the table. Like I said, the county development plan, the North Keys are just two. Politically, it'd be very interesting to see if parties who traditionally criticised the pacts, as it were, how they're actually going to sell that now to their supporters.
Sinn Féin's John Hearn says the government allocate the money to the local authority, and until that happens, you can't discuss a budget.
Every budget has to be discussed, and if there is a new group on 3 o'clock, it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the pot and to see what way they will work then in the future. But I think it would be a great thing if a fresh breeze came along and a different group came out from the same old traditional uncles and cousins parties.
Fine Gael's Damien Geoghegan says the communications they had with the various groupings focused solely on positions of monetary value.
Mayoralties and stuff like that, we weren't interested. We wanted to talk about passing budgets, the new development plan when it's put in place. We wanted to focus on policies. We didn't want to focus on positions, and it seems to me that the others just wanted to grab the positions first, and then they'd worry about the effective running of the council, and they'd worry about responsible politics afterwards. We were not interested in that. I've been involved in a number of pacts now over the years, and always the first item on the agenda, the first item you put up on the table is the effective running of the council and how you're going to actually get budgets through at budget time.
Labour's John Pratt told Damien Tiernan on Daysha today that they tried everything in their power to create an all-inclusive DeHunt council.
Getting away from the PEC system is what we've been trying to do. Getting away from the PEC system, we felt that this time round the voters voted very differently here in Waterford, and it gave an opportunity, a real opportunity for that to happen. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be. And we're still, it's open from the fact that we still would want to work together and try and ensure that we have a different council this time round.
He says it's disappointing.
And genuinely, we really thought this was a possibility. But, I know I've been talking personally to many people over the past week or more, from both Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil. There have been emails sent. There have been, we put our hand out and we really done what we could, I feel, to invite them in and say, look, please, let's do this together. And it's disappointing.
4 historic homes in West Waterford have been transformed into long-awaited social housing. The almshouses in Tallow were built in 1830 but fell out of use a decade ago. The Church of Ireland has now turned over the terraced single-storey properties to Waterford Council. One of the delighted new residents is Carmel Carney, who'd been on the council's housing waiting list for a number of years.
I have been very fortunate to be allocated the home. It's all under one level. I'm kind of a medically. That's why I was given the first priority, because I have medical problems and that. They're so spacious and bright and comfortable.
Waterford Council's Director of Housing is Ivan Grimes.
This is a fine example of tackling vacant, derelict properties and bringing them back into use. This is maintaining the history of Tallow. These houses were originally built nearly 200 years ago. And to see them occupied today, to see the inside, they're reconstructed to a very high standard, excellent energy performance. I think it's great. It's a beautiful, beautiful development.
Dean of Lismore, Paul Draper, says the houses became vacant when he took up his post in 2009.
They were fairly derelict, and we looked into what we could do with the trust deeds to see could we use them again for accommodation, but there was so much work to be done that we couldn't do that, so we kept trying to find options without it falling down, and then with Joe Flaherty and other local people, ideas started to ferment about what we might do, and then the County Council came along, and it seemed the most consonant way of keeping them as a beautiful, unique building and also used for what they were made for, accommodation.
There was another slight fall in the live register in Waterford during the month of May. There's now 6,797 people signing on in the city and county, a drop of 102. It's the third month in a row that the live register remains below 7,000. It's also 12% lower than the same time last year. Today marks Theresa May's final day as leader of the UK's Conservative Party. She'll remain as British Prime Minister until her successor is elected next month. Sean O'Regan reports.
I have just been to Buckingham Palace, where Her Majesty the Queen has asked me to form a new government, and I accepted.
1,059 days after taking charge, Theresa May is stepping down as leader of the Conservative Party. Her time at the helm has been overshadowed by one thing.
Brexit means Brexit, and we're going to make a success of it.
Political commentators say that her lasting legacy will be her failure to deliver Brexit. Attempts to get MPs to agree to her deal were all in vain, and at times Prime Minister's questions got heated.
A stunning display of pathetic cowardice.
She looks very weak, and she is.
No Prime Minister is better than a bad Prime Minister. Yeah.
Ultimately, it all ended in tears.
With enormous and enduring gratitude to have had the opportunity to serve the country I love.
Mrs May will stay on as Prime Minister until a new leader of the party is elected. Her tenure may have come to an end and someone else will take over, but by the looks of it,
nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
President Trump is winding down his visit to Ireland at his hotel in Doonbeg in County Clare. He'll leave this afternoon for Washington from Shannon Airport. Meanwhile, students and staff at the local national school are hoping they'll get a visit from the US First Lady Melania. School's principal Neil Crowley says it would be amazing.
It's just a great opportunity for them to experience maybe something like this, in a small rural area in Ireland as well. So we just hope it happens. But as I said, we just have to wait and see, to be honest with you.
Waterford Council is asking members of the public not to swim at 3 beaches in the county. Temporary do not swim notices are now in place at Councillor Strand in Dummer East and Ardmore, as well as at Kilmoran Cove. The local authority says it's due to high bacterial counts detected following heavy rain.
WLR Sport.
Thanks to Boland's Hyundai Waterford. Preview the award-winning 192 Hyundai range. See bolands.com.
Plans to increase Walsh Park's capacity to 16,000 remain on course despite neither of Waterford's 2 home games in the Munster Senior Hurling Championship selling out. The Irish Examiner reports that the attendances hovering around the 11,000 mark have not deterred the Waterford County Board from going ahead with the €7 million rebuild. County Board Chairman Paddy Joe Ryan says it's hoped work could begin in September. Meanwhile, Pádraig Fanning and his players are understood to have held a Clear the Air meeting on Tuesday ahead of tomorrow evening's trip to face Cork in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Former All-Ireland winning player and manager with Cork, Donal O'Grady, believes that Waterford's 1-point loss to Clare at Walsh Park put them on the back foot in this year's Munster Championship. He says Cork manager John Myler has a stronger squad at his disposal this season.
I suppose the glaring thing was like that last year against Limerick, that whereas Limerick had the troops to bring on with 10 minutes of normal time left, Cork didn't, and they had to bring back on Daniel Carney, who was suffering that day. And maybe from cramp, the likes of Declan Dalton coming on the last day and knocked over a couple of good points. His fitness seems to have improved a lot. And as you say, players who didn't make the first 15 were on the bench. And, that was a big fillip to Cork. Cummins Spillane is injured at the moment still, but getting Alan Carrigan back into the fray, well, that was a major plus as well.
You can catch the full interview with Donal O'Grady on this evening's Laura Naporka with Tomás McCarthy from 6:10. WLR will broadcast the game with commentary team Kieran O'Connor and Owen Murphy, thanks to George Corbett-Skoda. Throw-in is at 7 p.m. The minor game throws in at 5 p.m. and Tomás McCarthy will have reports here on WLR. Republic of Ireland boss Mick McCarthy says he'd be thrilled with a draw against Denmark in their Euro 2020 qualifier tonight. After winning the opening 2 matches of the campaign, they come up against the favourites to finish top of Group D in Copenhagen. McCarthy admits it will be his side's toughest test to date.
I'd be thrilled with the draw. That doesn't mean to say we're coming here just to sit back and try and get a draw. We're coming here to try and win the game. And we'll approach it in a very aggressive way.
Shane Lowry's one shot off the lead at 6 under par heading into today's second round of the RBC Canadian Open. Keegan Bradley is the man to catch into day 2 on 7 under. Graham McDowell will tee off from 5 under and Rory McIlroy from 3 under. Waterford's Seamus Power is level par after his first round, with Ryder Cup captain Pádraig Harrington 1 over. Waterford's Thomas Barr finished 4th of the 9 runners in a 400 metres hurdles race at the Diamond League meeting in Rome last evening. It was his second best time of the season at 49.65 seconds. The race was easily won by American Benjamin Ray in 47.58, a season's best for him. Thomas competes again next Thursday in the Oslo Diamond League meeting. Sports News on WLR is brought to you by Boland's Waterford.